about the VOD and the silver screen. Kevin and Tom and Joe know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 847, Mission Impossible 7B, Final Recon.
Gentlemen,
Een.
we've killed another franchise.
We'll see. We'll get into that.
Yeah,
We'll get
sure.
into that. The final is like it, with an asterisk next to it in quotes, italicized,
Yeah.
with a question mark clearly
Maybe.
at the end
Yeah,
of
they
the
put an
final.
asterisk by final, and then at the end of the movie, you find out it's actually Mission Impossible
Of the
Eight,
Avengers.
I was
New
saying-
Avengers
I was going to say
Reckoning.
it's actually Mission Impossible turns into Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess let's go around the table, and everyone can introduce themselves.
This is Joe.
This is Kevin.
And this is Tom. Before we dig in, shameless plugs. Don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you are there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. That is super helpful. It is greatly appreciated. I'm sorry. I worked like
Yeah.
15 hours yesterday. So where am I at? Oh, yeah, Facebook.com/Real Spoilers. There, you should go there. Like the page, join the group. It's called the League of Show Sharers. People who were kind enough to share an episode last week include Richard Krotzer, Librarian Cynthia, Tammy Lynn Powers, Betts, Brendan McGuckin, Ralph Tribble, Tom Dowdy, Gabriel Lugo, Julianne Jordan, Michael Tonkovic, Chris Magic Man, Phil Timon, Travis Tewitt, Taylor Ward, Heather Sachs, The Kryptonian Orphan, Ryan Terry, Nostalgicast, and Edit Photo Gamer. So thank you very much. We had issues with Twitter this week.
Yeah, a few. I noticed that.
Like, it just like we shared it and like nobody, we got absolutely not
No
one
interactions
person at all. And I pointed out to Kevin, like, well, this is weird. And I was like, I think we got canceled. I blame Joe.
Oh, damn
It's
it.
a fair assumption.
Yeah, it's also fair.
I was like, we had a
Been a
good
good run. I mean,
yeah, like
846.
who would
of
have
them.
thought we'd have made it this long before the public just was like, no,
No.
Yeah.
absolutely not.
I meant to mention this. Did I talk about the message that I got from a listener about how to say Daniel Craig?
You did a long time ago, yeah.
Well, Chris Margit. Did I mention this guy?
You mentioned it that oh, I didn't know it was said like that, like, because you read a review or something where he's like, oh, that's cute every time you say it. I'm like,
Oh, well,
whatever.
he sent me an audio message.
Oh, of how to say
how
it.
to say
yeah,
it.
play it.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear.
Yeah, we'll be able to
try.
hear it. Yeah, play it up to the.
Joey Butts, this is Chris from the Ook. I cut off listening to the Mickey 17 podcast because I wanted to watch the film first. And then eventually I watched the film and I thought I'd give you guys a listen. Lo and behold, you mentioned me on the show. So when it comes to the pronunciations about the Bond character, or actor, should I say, it doesn't rhyme with egg. It's not Daniel Craig. It's Daniel Craig. Okay? So it's a long vowel sound. I don't know if it's just Americans that do this. It's from all the podcasts I've listened to, it seems to be interchangeable. Some people say Craig, then Craig. So I don't know if you guys are just confused.
Yes,
But,
that's exactly what it is.
that's basically it. It's Daniel Craig.
There you go.
I mean, I appreciate it. I'm still confused. I don't
Yeah.
quite. I mean, I
It's
totally.
not Craig, it's Craig.
Yeah,
like,
it's,
what?
I think it's like
yeah.
Krieg,
Well-
like Krieg.
But he said the Uck.
He did say the Uck.
God love him.
Yeah,
Or
he
is
did.
it God love him? But yeah, it's just funny because that's like a running gag from the clip out.
Yes,
I always,
yeah.
because there's once they went into the UK, I would always be like, well, I believe it's pronounced the Uck. So I love to hear. I have to tell my wife that we actually had a listener from the UCK refer to it as the UCK.
That's
and
so
I'm just
funny.
like, it's working.
Yeah, we did it.
I did it.
You did it.
I got at least one person over there to refer to it as the UCK. Mission accomplished. No pun intended.
Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, it's so like as an American, it's spelled like Craig.
Right.
it is.
That's how we say Craig.
right.
I do think that
Here.
maybe it's just a difference in just how we pronounce the word.
Yeah,
You know what
for
I mean?
sure.
That it's like they say aluminium.
Yes, they
right?
do.
So,
Yes, they do.
Which those letters aren't in there.
No, like,
to be clear, those letters literally do not
You've
exist.
added sounds. It's like when I tell,
You can't-
like, when Gwen's reading a book and she reads a word, and I was like, "Did you see a T in that word?"
Yeah.
No. Then
There's
why
no
just
I
say
in
it?
the end of aluminum. So like when you say aluminium, it's not there.
Yeah, like, I don't know where that came
I mean, and I get it. You say it. I'm not fighting anyone over it. I'm just saying.
from. They pronounce it Adidas.
They do pronounce it Adidas.
Well, that's the real pronunciation of the name.
No, it's
yeah.
Adidas.
But that's the like. But that's the thing too, though. When you have a brand or a name that, like, you know, once it's enough Americans say it,
Right.
and it's just kind of becomes the
We win.
accepted. We win.
Yeah.
Right, that's
It's like
funny.
tariffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely
but isn't
winning.
it- I mean,
let me
that's
tell you.
like-
linguistic tariff.
But that's like Jaguar,
Yeah, well, it's also
Porsche.
in
Porsche
in their
is how the car company's supposed to be pronounced.
they did start the language.
Who?
The British folks.
Yeah.
We just took it and
Oh,
And destroyed it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we don't speak the King's English
we do not
over
speak
here.
the King's English. No, we might at some point,
Yeah.
given the way we're going.
Except our king doesn't speak English.
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah, that's also a good point. The King's gibberish.
Yeah. The king's gibberish. Yes. That makes much more sense. So where was I at? Oh yeah, shameless plugs. Also, don't forget we have a Patreon, patreon.com/real spoilers, where for $5 a month you get bonus content and we like you extra.
And I need people to listen to that Wayne's World episode because
That was a lot of
I
work.
have only a few people after all that. Please sign up just to listen to that and make me feel a little better that I'm doing something
That's
that
funny.
gets out there.
So also, finally, don't forget we're available on YouTube, youtube.com/@real-spoilers. And for the kids on the YouTube, don't forget to smash that
right.
button.
That's
Oh,
right.
smash it hard.
And,
Which-
and like,
Which, like,
subscribe, and
as someone my age, watching Jersey Shore,
Oh, it's
when the
smash.
kids say that, I'm like, are they on the button? What are they
Hey,
supposed to do?
If that number counter goes up,
yeah,
do what
that's
you got to
fine.
do.
Yeah,
to that
do what you
button.
got. I don't
Just-
care. It's fine.
So
We do have a review.
Oh, we do. Oh, how about that? Okay.
This is a 5-star from Chuck Norris
I
787.
because you're reading it.
I'll read the bad ones too. What's up, guys? Loving the pods. I'm a kennel technician at a rescue boarding organization, so my earbuds are protection against loud barking that I am around. So I can technically say your
should just-
podcast has saved my hearing.
We should just bark for the rest
Oh
of the
my
podcast.
god! Could you imagine?
Random
Just doing the whole thing.
Random barks just to confuse them.
See, so now we have single-handedly gotten people through medical school.
That's right.
We've single-handedly saved the MCU.
Correct.
And
Got
now
somebody through film school.
We
we got,
did.
right. We
Yeah,
got through
yeah.
film school, and now we've protected hearing. We are.
We are, and
Just-
you know, we've also helped this guy with animals.
Woof.
Yeah. And we've helped people
Woof.
learn the proper pronunciation of Craig. So
Yeah.
And
you're
the
welcome.
UCK.
And the
We've
UCK, that's
started when people call it the UCK, and you're like, where did that start?
Right here.
Right. Well, on the clip
On
out.
the clip out, I
but
guess.
yeah.
That's right. Of course, I have another horror question for Joe, but I'm also interested in what you all have to say about concerning the trilogy of Hatchet movies. I'm the only one that has seen
yeah,
those.
no, what?
I
Wasn't
recently
that a book that you read in middle school?
No,
Oh.
it's like an homage to like Friday the 13th movies.
Okay.
I recently watched all three, and I'm going back and discovering movies of the genre that I never saw growing up. And all I have to say is that these is what the chicken noise. Are they meant to be slashers? Are they meant to be satire? Are they dark comedies? Have they been, or have they turned into that as time has gone by? There's literally a scene where Kane Hodder removes a man's head during certain bedroom activities, and the guy's body just keeps going. I would love to hear y'all discuss. We're never going to talk about the Hatchet movies. Like
That's going to have to be a Patreon.
That
Especially
will-
considering two of the three people
Yeah.
on the show have no idea what you're talking about.
Right. And if you're ever in San Antonio, Texas, and need someone to watch your pets, I got you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the awesome content. Make it to 1,000 episodes. P.S. Monster Squad is on Amazon Prime as of right this moment. You're welcome. The Hatchet movies are absolutely supposed to be kind of like an homage, an over-the-top homage to the Friday the 13th backwoods slasher movies. They're very the satire is not subtle at all.
Yeah, it sounds very tongue in cheek.
It is
rip
very
someone's
tongue-in-cheek.
head off in the bedroom and they keep going. Like that's
they use a lot. Kane Hodder plays the guy who's Jason in a bunch of the Jason movies. They bring in a bunch of like actors and actresses who were in horror movies. So like the gal who was in Texas Chainsaw 2, Danielle Harris is in them, who was in Halloween 4 and 5 and Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2. So like, yes, they are absolutely supposed to be tongue-in-cheek. It was an opportunity to like kind of go wild with gore.
Okay.
Like, how far can we push this?
So it's like what those Terrifier movies are now.
Yes, but those are yes.
Essentially.
Those think they're a little bit more
Just pushing.
those Terrifier movies think they're a little more cooler than they are.
Really?
But yeah, I don't.
Oh,
at
they're
all.
the new
I think
Blumhouse.
I think the design of Art the Clown is simple and very
he's
scary.
so creepy. Yeah.
But I also think, and the guy that plays him is very good. But it's also just kind of like, all right.
Doesn't the guy that plays Art also Steamboat
He is Steamboat
Killer
Willie.
or whatever?
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
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 Interesting.
It's very weird. But thank you for Chuck
Yeah.
Norris
Yeah.
for reaching out.
Absolutely. And no, wait, he's not the one that said the uck.
No, that's Chris.
That was the other guy.
That was the other guy.
Okay. So there's all that. Let's dig into Mission Impossible 8.
Exposition dump.
2 hours of intense action jam-packed into a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, well, because the first hour of the movie's exposition.
It is weird.
I've never.
It's this weird hodgepodge of exposition and fan service.
Yes.
And like, here's the thing. Know your role. That's
And
for
shut
you.
your mouth.
Yeah. Like, look, the whole selling point of the Mission Impossible franchise was that you didn't have to see the other ones.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
They
And
were
they're all confusing as
No,
hell.
I don't think that's true though.
but like, nobody cares about
The continuity.
the continuity or
Yeah,
the
yeah,
characters. Like nobody gives.
You can watch 4 and not know that he dropped the knife in 1, or
Right.
that the rabbit's foot was in 3. Like, but this movie tries to tie them
Like, they-
all up
it
yeah.
ties everything.
The rabbit foot was AI, not a biological weapon. What?
And it's like nobody cares. Like you're like retconning and solving things that nobody's ever cared about.
That was the other thing that I thought about this. Usually in those movies, in the previous entries into this franchise, there's a moment where you think Ethan Hunt is done for, but then you find out he's been 12 steps ahead
Right.
the whole time. That never happens here.
Yeah.
There's never a moment where Ethan Hunt's like, gotcha. Like you thought you had us, but like we had you the whole time.
They only kind of try to do it when Kittredge and them are in that cave or whatever, and he's like, you're standing here, which means you have a plan. Like
But they never do that. Like
but they never end. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's supposed to be like the smartest guy in the room at all times, but
they were in a cave.
that's a good point. A lot of rooms.
Yeah.
Also, I've talked about it before in these movies, how Tom Cruise kind of makes Ethan Hunt to be this ultimate good guy, the ultimate savior, the only one who can do whatever. And the fact that they doubled down on it in this one, where Haley Atwell's like, you're the only one we can trust with this.
Yeah.
Like, you're the only one who's good enough. And I was like, brother,
Yeah.
you are walking a line that I think we all know probably how you view yourself in real life. Now you're acting like you're God because you're the only one who can control the AI.
Get like why we're doing all this like walk down memory lane where it's like, look, I think I made this analogy. I don't know. Was it Final Destination where I was like, it's a French fry movie. It's a ketchup delivery device.
Yeah.
This is a ketchup delivery device for the elaborate stunts that he does.
Yes.
Didn't start out that way. I mean, it's always been an action movie and stunts, but
Does that
like
start with McQuarrie?
no, Brad Bird 4 Ghost.
And that's where they
Protocol.
this is where they really ramped it up.
It became a totally different movie in 4,
Okay.
which was awesome.
Okay. Yeah, 4's great.
But like that's what we're here for. And so, like, we don't care about the like. Here, this is the what was the name of Philip Seymour Hoffman's character?
Demius?
Bad
See,
guy
that's-
McBatterton.
Right.
What was the name of Alec Baldwin's character?
Bad.
No, wait, was he bad? He wasn't a
Well,
bad guy.
no, there
he
was a
like,
fakeroo or something.
he
but
was the-
like,
yeah.
that's the
He
thing.
didn't like
right.
Ethan. You thought maybe he's working for someone, maybe not.
Like, you don't.
I don't
doesn't.
care.
I don't care.
No.
Like, that's. I don't need an homage to any of this.
I know it's
Like,
what happened is someone cut together a reel for Tom Cruise and was like, "Remember all these great times?" And he's like, "Put it in the movie. It will be 3 hours instead of 2 hours." I mean, it's.
But
it's,
did they? I guess they didn't film this in like.
They filmed this at the same time
That's
as
what I was.
7.
They did.
because this has been on the shelf for like 2
No,
years.
they rewrote it. I heard. I don't think they did.
Oh, really?
Because-
I thought they
no,
shot it at the
because
same
so there were apparently other endings where Ethan dies at the end. There
I
were
could
all
see
sorts
that.
of right because it was going to be
Yeah.
fine, to actually put a bow on it.
Well, did they maybe stop that when Daniel Craig died?
Daniel Craig didn't die.
Yeah,
Well, and
I
James Bond.
I do wonder. I thought the
Oh.
same thing. Where I'm like, well, if they kill off their hero, it's gonna be like, well, they just did this
Like,
in James Bond,
right.
I see. I guess.
but-
yeah, Ethan Hunt is
So
the American
this
James
movie,
Bond.
so this was supposed to be Dead Reckoning Part 2, which
Correct.
makes it seem like it would have all been filmed at the same time, but I don't think it was. Because they have these big stunts and everything. This movie alone has a $400 million budget.
It's wild
Yeah.
On the high end.
and
when
you know,
they
here's the thing about the runtime. Dead Reckoning was 2 hours and 43 minutes, and I don't know
It
that we
didn't feel like.
I don't
it,
know
though.
that we mentioned.
I thought
it.
this one moved.
once
that
it sta-
beginning.
once it started moving, it
yeah,
moved.
yeah.
That
I
beginning
agree.
killed me with the flashbacks. Okay, they do this thing in this movie where they're talking to Ethan and the different characters. They like one person talks and then they do a flashback to the thing and then another person talks and there's another flashback. The editing in this movie, at least in the first part, is horrible.
So that brings up an interesting point. So Christopher McQuarrie, has been kind of Tom Cruise's guy from five on,
yeah.
right?
I think that's when he came in.
Yeah.
I am
'Cause
wondering.
he used them for the Jack Reacher movies too.
Mm-hmm.
He directed those?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Okay.
that's like his director now.
That's what
I
I'm-
think. Did he
He
start
didn't
with
do
Night?
Top Gun, but
Yeah.
Oh, but he was involved in that.
I think
did
he was
as a
like
producer,
or
yeah.
something. I think did he direct Night and Day? Was that where they met?
Oh,
without him, I love Night and Day.
Night and Day is an underrated.
That's a fun.
I
fun movie.
do wonder if, and this isn't a dig at Christopher McQuarrie, because these movies
Jack Reacher was his first.
Was
so
it
that's
as his
where
first?
yeah.
Okay.
these movies have been unbelievable for the most part. I do wonder if he is a good director or if he is kind of a copy and paste guy that just does what Tom Cruise tells him to do.
I mean, I definitely think that they have a very solid relationship, and
Yes.
it's probably difficult to disentangle how much of that is Christopher McQuarrie being a yes man and how much of that is they are
I was thinking about that with
simpatico in
who's-
their thought processes.
Who's Ryan Reynolds' guy? What's his name? Sean Levy?
Mm-hmm.
Sean Levy has done stuff without Ryan Reynolds
Yeah.
that is very good.
Yeah. I mean, he did the Night at Museum movies, which were very popular
Yeah.
kids movies. There was 3 or 4 of them or whatever.
Did he do all 4 of them?
He did all of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Maybe there's 3 and they're making a 4th, but he at least did the first 3 that exist.
Okay.
I think there were 4.
Were there
That
4?
fourth
Okay.
one was pretty
And then
good.
obviously he did the Atom Project and he did Deadpool 3.
Oh, and Fall Guy was
sorry.
fun.
Fall
Free
Guy.
Free Guy was really fun.
So
he's a good director.
He
for
has
sure.
like a past where he's like, okay, this guy's a solid director.
And Night and Day was James Mangold, so now I feel dumb. for
Yeah,
saying
so-
that.
Oh, interesting. He's doing
do-
Swamp Thing.
That was-
I think
he
yeah.
did the Logan,
He did
which was
Logan.
amazing.
Yeah.
But he also did the Wolverine, I think.
Did he do the Wolverine
Mm-hmm.
too? Okay.
So like some of those guys, like they've done stuff in the past where it's like, oh, you're okay, you got this. Chris McQuarrie, I am curious to see where he goes from here.
Well, it's interesting. So he directed that movie, The Way of the Gun, with Ryan Philippe
that
and
is a good
Benicio
movie.
del Toro.
That's a very
I
good
went
movie.
back in high school. I remember I used to
Yeah.
watch that and thought that movie was the
Okay.
the shiznit.
That makes sense.
So like it's funny though. He directed The Way
It
of the
was
Gun.
high school if you were saying things like
Shiznit.
It
With
was
his
a-
bat,
it
with
When
his
I was
very-
in high school, I liked a movie. It was The Bee's Knees.
and you put your monocle on. And
yeah.
watch
So
it.
Kevin was wearing a backwards red Yankees hat with
Breathe in now, breathe out, hands up, now hands down. But so he directed The Way of the Gun in 2000.
Okay.
And then Jack Reacher was 2012.
So what was he doing in between
Right?
for the 12
That's
years?
a really interesting.
Probably TV.
Oh, maybe.
A lot of
But
those
no,
guys-
there's
music
directing
videos
credits.
or
I
something.
mean, literally,
Oh, okay.
he did 2000, 2012. Now, writing wise, he does have a
Okay.
bigger writing. Oh, he wrote The Usual Suspects. That's who he is.
Oh.
He's the writer of the. I remember this now when he popped up. I'm like, who is this guy? He wrote The Usual Suspects.
Okay.
So that's a big deal. So that's how he got in.
I want to see what he can do without Tom Cruise.
He wrote Edge of Tomorrow.
That's a good movie.
That's a good movie.
That's a good movie.
He wrote The New Mummy. We won't talk about that one.
I mean,
I bet you he rewrote the movie.
Oh, okay.
I
maybe.
bet you
because that was not a Tom Cruise joint.
when Tom Cruise got added, he's probably like, now here's my writer to add Tom Cruise stuff.
Hey, have you seen American Werewolf in London? Have I got a story for you?
But I mean, Usual Suspects is a great movie.
Absolutely.
No matter who's in
Scumbag
it,
director.
haven't watched in a long time. And,
Scumbag director,
and star,
scumbag
right?
star.
But that's, it's a good movie.
Is he the star of that movie, or is he just kind of the breakout
he's
performer?
He's one of the stars.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, he's narrating the film.
I guess that's
Like
true.
it's all from his POV.
I mean, with
that's
the
a good
twists and
point.
everything, that's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
writing
It's
wise,
very
really
good.
And then he wrote that movie Valkyrie that Tom
That's
Cruise
all right.
is in.
It was okay.
But so I mean, but he's proven himself as a writer. He's
Yes.
done some really good writing in these movies. I mean, the reason why he has only worked on these is because look at how long.
That's a good
and the
point.
budget. And to his credit, look at the behind the scenes. Chris McQuarrie will jump out of a plane with a camera and film Tom Cruise in midair. Like he was skydiving.
Oh,
in
is
one
he
of those,
actually filming?
yes,
I didn't
with a
realize that.
camera in
I
the
didn't
air
realize
like
that
this.
either.
That's
filming.
why they're
Buddies.
buddies.
He has
Yeah.
to trust him with his life.
Because he'll do the same.
He'll do
the same crazy stuff.
It's
Right,
really
but
cool.
I think it
Yeah.
also helps that I don't know that Christopher McQuarrie is what we would refer to as an auteur director.
No, I
Right,
think
and
he's got
I
a
don't
very
mean
good
that
eye
as
for
an-
action.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's not necessarily trying to put his personal stamp on a movie. And
A lot of Dutch tilts in this movie.
yeah.
That's a Mission Impossible thing, I think.
But
Wasn't
I
there a
don't
Dutch
think
tilt in
I
the
don't
first one?
See,
I'm pretty
I think
sure.
that's a callback to the first one.
Okay.
Because there's a lot in the De Palma movie.
because it's De Palma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But he's not. So he's more of like a craftsman.
Yeah.
Like he's you see a Quentin Tarantino movie, and like when Quentin Tarantino was going to make that Star Trek movie, you were going to walk out of that going, Quentin Tarantino just made a Star Trek movie, right? There's
right.
he's never, and like I know that there was talk back in the day of Spielberg directing a James Bond movie. I think that probably would have been a bad idea. I think Spielberg would have made a Spielberg movie, and you don't want James Bond to be a Spielberg movie.
Richard Donner is the one that I always go back to.
Yeah, I think that could have
Richard
been.
Donner
But I mean,
is-
but Spielberg directed Munich, and that doesn't seem like a Spielberg movie. I think
That-
he's
that-
so
that-
good he could have done
That
it.
does have
He
a
could
Spielberg.
have done it. Like I just.
He just has. There's something about the way Spielberg moves his camera.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's that dude's a
But
genius.
if I watched Munich, I don't think I would say that was a Spielberg movie. Like if I didn't know,
I think
I don't think I think because but
Maybe.
I'm just saying he's so good. Spielberg is a master. He is one of the greatest filmmakers ever
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
live, right? And so I think he could, and I don't know. You're right. I mean, it may
Yeah,
not turn
and
out.
I don't.
It's just
and I don't say this to on Christopher McQuarrie because these movies have been a lot of fun.
oh, the action's
Absolutely.
incredible.
and
yeah.
I think a perfect example of a modern day craftsman style director who isn't trying to put a personal stamp. He's there to serve the story, and he has no ego. Is Ron Howard?
He's
Absolutely.
the best at that.
And I think there's a period of time where people are like, "Oh, Ron Howard," but it's like Ron Howard's great.
Oh,
Ron
Howard-
Howard's great is because Ron Howard doesn't. When he makes a movie, he's like. There are great auteur directors, but there are a lot of auteur directors who maybe aren't so great,
Yeah.
and they can't get out of their own way. And Ron Howard never gets in his own way.
He grew up on sets. He knows how to
Gets
make
it.
a movie.
Yeah,
He gets it.
and so but I think if you're gonna work with Tom Cruise, that's what you got to be.
Yep.
because you're there to make a Tom Cruise movie.
exactly
He
right.
directed Hillbilly Elegy.
Ron Howard, yeah.
So he's responsible
All
for
right.
the boost.
Okay.
And,
So I will defend Ron Howard.
yeah.
Everyone was snowballed by that
Yeah.
book. When
By
that
David.
came out,
Yeah.
everybody was like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
It just sucks though.
It-
It
yeah.
sucks that. Yeah. But he directed Rush. Remember that?
Rush was a good
that movie.
movie.
Has great
Yeah.
action. It's a really good script. Everything, but it's like it doesn't feel like a Ron. It's just it's.
I don't.
great-
You will never say to your.
I mean,
to
the
exactly
guy
what
that
you
made
said.
Rush made Night Shift,
Right.
and Gung Ho,
Right, and
Splash.
American. Oh no, American. He's not. He's in American.
He's
Graffiti.
in the American Graffiti is George
George
Lucas.
Lucas.
Yeah.
But
Cinderella Man, and then How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
oh,
and-
yeah. Which I mean, like, is a modern Christmas classic.
Yeah. Oh, people like Katie grew up with it. She loves it.
100%.
Like that. People that grew up with that, it's their Christmas movie.
No, I
right?
think, and to me, it's Richard. For me, like I said, Superman, Lethal Weapon, The Goonies.
Yeah.
Like none of those look the same. They all look different.
Yeah.
So I just.
But Chris McQuarrie gets the action stuff, and that's what people are showing up for in the theater, which brings us back in this long-winded talk that we have too. When you come back and then you're like, oh yeah, but this first movie and the second movie, blah, blah, blah. It's like we're not there for that, and you're padding this movie out to 3 hours that could have been 2 hours.
We're there for the catch-up.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
Give us some catch-up.
Fries are easy.
Yeah.
See, so anyway, but some really weird things this movie does, besides from the nonstop exposition and the flashbacks in the first 45 minutes or whatever. But then that first action sequence where you don't even see him do anything.
That was weird. I wonder.
This is
honestly,
an action
though,
movie that's known for its action.
I do wonder if he got hurt. You know what I mean? Like I do wonder if
has
at
to be a
some point
reason
he
they
got
didn't do
hurt,
that,
or
'cause-
maybe the filming didn't look right.
Right, and they play it
had
off
to-
for comedy, but it's like these movies don't do that. Like these are
There's a
action
lot of
movies.
there's a weird comedic beat in that whole scene too.
But it seems like in that scene, he like
goes off.
he kills the out of those dudes.
Judging by Haley
And-
Atwell's
yeah,
reaction,
and like you don't normally see Ethan Hunt kill the out of people.
But yeah, but they decided to do that, and that's
It
my
w-
point. You don't have to have an action sequence where he kills.
yeah,
yeah, he
bludgeons
doesn't.
them
I
to
mean, Henry
death.
Cavill falls to his death. Like that's true. Like all of those characters.
but like yeah, like he was, and so like I think they were trying to show you that without showing you that.
Yeah.
Like I
Or maybe
think
it's like a reminder of how dangerous he can be.
I think that scene would play better if you weren't like, okay, get to the stuff where we do
Maybe.
things.
Yeah, it just because it was at that point I was irritated with the movie where I'm like, I'm excited for this. I want to see this action stuff, but why are you showing me? It was jarring. Like my head was spinning with these flashbacks.
I kept thinking we were going to get because you just focus on her. You're just focused on Haley Atwell, who's doing like
It's her
facial
reaction.
her
It's
reactions.
all reaction
Like I
shots,
feel
yeah.
like we've seen that other things have done that. It's not
Yeah.
they didn't invent that, you know. Where
No.
you watch them, but usually they do that in like a comedy where it's
Well,
supposed
this
to
is
be,
a comedic scene where like he comes into frame, he's like, "We got to go," and then he comes back,
and then they
she-
hang way too long,
and then he comes back again. He's like, "Hey, are you good?" And then he leaves, and then he comes back a third
Right?
time.
It's
and it's like, what
it's
what
just
is
weird.
this?
It's just weird. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
It's strange to have the first action sequence in a movie known for action off screen,
Right.
And then the comedic thing, like I don't know, it's weird. But once you get past all this stuff, once you get to where the plot of the movie picks up, which is essentially, so this is a part two.
is a
Whatever
part-
they
it is
retitle,
absolutely
it's
a
part
part
two.
two.
In
Yeah.
the first part, they are able to get this key, which they show you. But if you didn't watch it, don't worry.
There's a lot.
You will get to watch it again, or you'll get to watch it in this movie. But anyway, they end up finding this key that was lost under this frozen water, you know, there's two halves to the key. They put it together. Tom Cruise has this key, and what it's supposed to do is unlock the like the door of the submarine that has the source code for
Basically,
the entity,
yes.
which now the entity has taken over the world. They're taking over nuclear missile silos all over the world.
This is a very interesting plot given where we are in our current world.
Yeah.
Is the idea of AI taking images and filtering it to basically AI wants this entity wants to destroy the
Turn
world.
people against each other by photoshopping images.
I also
and-
think it's very interesting, and I don't know where Tom Cruise lies politically. I don't know where Christopher McQuarrie lies politically.
Xenu.
But I do find it very interesting that they have a black woman, Angela Bassett, as the president of the United States.
I think this is Chris McQuarrie showing you his thoughts right up. I mean, this.
But she was
she was the head of the CIA in
Yeah.
the Henry Cavill one.
Right, but they didn't have
6.
to pick her to be
but was
president.
it, did we see her as president in the last one?
No,
I
this
couldn't
is the
remember.
first time you see that. So
Like when
they
she
chose
starts
her to
when
be,
when she starts talking like on the we hear her first, like
Yeah.
we hear her like her voice, and I was like, man, that's wild. I think that's Angela
but
Bassett.
some things this movie does, which I think are really cool, which I think that Wright's head has to explode if they watch this movie.
Yeah.
The president is a black woman.
Yeah.
The captain of the boat is
Okay, I want
Hannah
to touch on
Waddingham from
but
Ted Lasso.
Why do I care about that? Why am I supposed to like when Ethan hands her this paper
Mm-hmm.
that the president has written May 16th,
May
1999.
22nd. Yeah.
Okay. Like that's a reference to the first movie.
No, I think it's different.
Yeah. It's
But
It's
they
around the same-
explain,
it's the
they
same year, but
explain
it's a
why
different-
that is going to trigger.
the first one comes out in 97, doesn't it?
Oh, I think it's 99.
96.
Is it really?
It's either 95 or 96.
Oh, I thought it was 99.
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
no.
But like, did they ever explain why that date holds any sort of
Yeah, they do.
significance?
So this is the thing. So the president and the government can make a decision here where they can trust.
Came out
Ethan-
96.
96. Yeah. So they can make a decision here to trust Ethan Hunt, who has been on the run. He's evading them. He won't come in. He's committed all these crimes supposedly. You know, we know he's a good guy and he's always saving people, whatever. But then, you know, they can trust him and make this decision, but that goes against the generals. It goes against everybody's.
Colt McNally is having none of it.
Yeah, exactly. and so she's like, on that date, people they love and cared about died because no one would
take a risk.
would go against authority.
Oh.
And so this is a note the president to
okay.
this captain saying, we know this is crazy. There's no reason you should trust Ethan Hunt with
The
this.
president and the captain of that ship
Lost someone.
Yes.
like they were working together when they
I'm
were
with you.
when they were rank and file and watched the higher ups the bed because they wouldn't
That's not protocol.
they
Wouldn't
wouldn't
do
trust
what they-
their gut.
Okay.
So she's like, do this. Remember, we can save people if we do this unorthodox thing and trust Ethan.
Given the fact that Shea Wiggum turns out to be
Okay, that's crazy.
was just the most
John Voight's son from the
yeah,
first
he's
one.
like, yeah, it's not your real name. Your real name is Jim Parsons
Why?
Jr.
Why did
Yeah.
they do that? Why?
That was a wild choice.
It's like they didn't do it in the last movie. They didn't do it 2 movies. Whenever we met him, like to just like to throw that
so
in.
I do like. I mean, I wish they would have introduced that earlier because I do like.
He's
the
not Jim Parsons. That's the guy from The Big
Oh, yeah,
Bang
that's the-
Theory.
yeah.
Jim. God, what's his name? Because he hasn't been in it for
Yeah, I don't know.
since the first one. I don't remember.
Either way,
his
it's
name.
he. I
That's
like.
the point. We don't know the people's
Yeah,
names.
like
They're just,
I like
he's
the
John Voight.
idea of if this character is that other character's son. Ethan Hunt ruined Jim Phelps. Ethan Hunt ruined his father's reputation
Right.
by saying he was a traitor and he killed his whole team. So I do.
It's an interesting.
Like, if we had learned that when we first are introduced, to
like in the last movie when he wants to track him down and kill him, and you're like,
Why
why
are
does
you
this guy
so-
hate him so
why
much?
are you so
right?
hardcore about
but like,
this?
But to throw it in here at the
At the
11th
last
hour,
movie.
at the 11th hour to
It's
try
like
to be like,
all
oh,
of a sudden they want to be the MCU.
right,
Kind
You
of,
know,
It's just-
yeah.
and just like
gotta
it's-
tie it all together. I'm like, you don't though.
You don't like
You
that's
haven't
not
tied.
what we're here for.
When they bring back the poor CIA or FBI guy.
Okay, that is the last thing I would have ever expected. That guy's the MVP of this movie.
Oh,
Okay,
sure.
Would you have ever in a million years thought that a random character from a gag where Ethan Hunt has to drop from the ceiling, that amazing set piece where he's trying to go to the computer and get up at the last second, but his knife drops and the guy walks in and he's like, oh, what is this? Like, we've never thought about that guy
Nope.
again.
Yeah.
We've never heard of that
I
guy.
do love
and to
that
make him a main
you,
character.
the behind the scenes footage I want to see is when the makers of Mission Impossible 8
Yeah.
called that dude's agent.
Oh yeah.
and the guy
Could you
and the
imagine?
agent was like,
What?
"What?
Excuse me?
He was in a Mission Impossible movie? Oh, I've just been shopping him as like the dad in wacky Nickelodeon sitcoms. But okay,
You want him to come back?
yeah. Hey, Joe, get a load of this. So remember when you were in that Mission Impossible
In
movie?
1996?
Apparently that was important.
Yeah. All right, so the actor's name is Rolf Saxon. He played CIA analyst William Donlow.
Yeah.
And so come to find out that because the knock list was stolen under his watch, which is all the undercover agents' identities and where they're located and everything,
Yeah.
big deal. He was banished to wherever the seas
St.
of
St. Marcus
or
Island.
whatever,
Yeah.
yeah, and now to guard a bunch of floppy disks of like
Which I got to
communications
tell
that
you,
come in.
as someone who has worked in law enforcement for almost 20 years, I have seen, I have
put
been
that
on
assignment?
the other end of,
Oh.
hey, by the way, you're getting transferred to because you
Records.
because you did
Like,
something that they
if-
didn't like.
If this had been an ongoing thing in this franchise, I would dig it. Of
Sure.
like the idea of like we see these things and it's like ha ha ha, and it's like, but he just ruined somebody's life
For
right?
30
But,
years,
like,
he's been on
there's
this
a great-
island for 30 years.
There is a great episode of Community where they basically turn the cameras and they start showing it from the POV of all the students you see walking
Yeah.
around.
Okay.
Because they would use the same like background actors.
Sure.
In all the episodes, so you would see the same faces week after week in the background, and sometimes they'd have a straight line of dialogue or maybe a small subplot, and then they started showing it of just like they're just like, oh my god, these people are the worst, right? Like these characters that we love, like they can't stand these people. They just think they're so important.
That's
and
funny.
It's like I'm like I would kind of dig that of like, you know, like we're so caught up in the POV of Ethan Hunt that it's like, yeah, he's leaving a trail of damage and ruined lives everywhere he goes.
Everywhere he goes.
But I like it. So there's a through line of this movie that, you know, Ethan talks to Luther, who was in there in the very first movie.
He's been there since the first one. Yeah.
So and then he was, I think, came back in 3 and then was in there on his team all the way through.
I think that's where Simon Pegg
Benji's
comes
in 2, I believe.
No. The John Woo one?
I think so.
I don't think so.
It's 2 or 3.
I think it's 3.
I don't know.
I think they basically excommunicated 2. They don't talk about 2. They don't do anything because that's like
all their the way you can tell in all their flashback and homages in this one.
Just him on the bike.
Not one dove.
Nope. Not a single one. I think that he shows up in 3.
Okay, yeah, it's 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But anyway,
I didn't realize he had been in the movie that
right.
in the
Yeah, he
franchise
had.
that long.
I know, we've forgotten. But anyway, so Ving Rhames plays Luther, and they have these like meaningful discussions about your fate and is it written and all that. And so I really, really liked what this movie does with that, because yes, we're talking about this William Donlow character who is this random character and apparently got him fired and excommunicated and whatever, you know, put on this job, you know, somewhere guarding discs. But I really like what he says, where Ethan apologizes, says, I'm sorry for ruining your life. But he says, if you would have never done that, I would have never met the love of my life. I'd still be working for the CIA, and I'd probably think I was happy.
Yeah.
And like, you've given me this freedom and a life with someone I love. And the whole, like, the point is, like, yeah, you can be dealt some crappy cards, but you don't have to accept the crap. You can make.
But also, it's back to Tom Cruise being the savior.
Well,
Has it ever not been?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like this one lays on it.
Yeah, I can see how you read that. But to me, I'm not looking at so much as Ethan Hunt doing this. Like, yes, I know he's getting credit for this.
Right.
But I really, really liked the idea that like your fate is not written in stone. You can change it. You can make a better life for yourself. You can do things to get yourself out of a situation, because so many people are like, woe is me, I'm just going to give up because it's like too hard.
And I'm honestly asking, isn't that kind of what Scientology is?
I don't know much about that.
I think I could be wrong. I don't think that I am though.
Okay.
Where like part of the thing about Scientology is like you are in control of you and your like same thing. Destiny's not written for you. Like you are in control of that.
Yeah, and they don't believe in like that in like mental illness. That
yes,
like, you know,
right,
and
right.
They don't like
it's
like drugs to treat it.
It's all
and,
your body.
Like, you should
can
be
take
able
care
to
of it on your
control
own.
that yourself.
Well, like, so I'm not looking at it from that point.
Yeah.
But I'm just
drugs
saying, like,
are fine and all that.
Oh
you know?
no,
But,
I
like,
think.
But if Tom
yes.
Cruise would like to come on the show to talk to us,
but I really,
Scientology.
We don't allow couch jumping.
yes,
On Real Spoilers.
I don't
just-
think you got to worry about him doing that again.
Definitely not.
I just really liked the idea that like of all the talks between Ethan and Luther and the message he leaves him at the end and all that stuff about, you know, and then this, when Donlow talks to him, he says, I should be thanking you because he freed him from this mundane life of, yes, he's working on the CIA, he made money, you know, whatever, he probably would climb the ranks, but he would be just like a guy at a computer at a desk. And now he gets to go out and live with his wife and have dogs and whatever, the freedom of not being surrounded by a bunch of office
gets
people.
his house burned down. It's great.
Well, that's not, you
All
know.
the yellow snow he can eat.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I don't know. I thought that was really cool, and I thought that guy was great.
He was really good. I will. Yeah, I thought he was
Yeah.
really good. Yeah. So like, this is basically what the last 30 minutes of what was going to be Dead Reckoning 2, and then they just, like we said, they stuffed it full of scenes from 1 through 7. They remind us that Rebecca Ferguson got killed, which I was like, when
Never
they
forgive him for that one.
showed that, I was like, well, she's coming back.
We thought that she might be.
I thought she was Nick Offerman. I thought that was gonna when there's a scene where Nick Offerman goes
big
outside.
transition.
I mean, that's what these movies do, though.
Yeah.
There's not one mask in this movie.
Yeah, there is.
When?
No, there was. There's a scene where when they break into the prison to.
Oh,
they
you're
all
right.
they take off.
Yeah.
the
You're
masks.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
you're right.
Benji and Ethan have
Yeah.
masks on. They're supposed to be.
They're trying to save Mantis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mantis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what that
Palm
is.
Clementine.
Yes. But I thought so. There's a scene where like we're getting down to DEFCON 1. Angela Bassett has to make this like all of the world's nuclear armaments have now falling
Yeah.
into
all
the
but
control.
3 that are left. It's
Russia,
like
the
Russia,
UK, and us.
UK and okay. The UK. Is that
The
it's
UK,
pronounced
sorry, the
actually?
UK.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Angela Bassett's basically she has to decide if we are the last ones, we're going to have to strike first because they're coming for us like the entity's going to fire on us anyway. So if we can take them out, and I do
Her generals, what's his name? The
Holt McNeely?
McElney or whatever.
the guy from Mindhunter.
Who's always great. The guy.
He is always great.
The
He
guy
was
from
just the guy in the accountant.
Amateur.
Oh, he was in the
The Amateur.
No, the accountant.
I thought he was the bad guy in The Amateur.
Maybe it was the amateur.
Amateur.
Yeah. It was
Him
My
and the
bad.
other
Oh,
guy
yes,
they're
yes,
trying to
yes.
set
Yes.
Rami Malek up.
Yeah.
Right? He's that guy, the bad, scummy CIA or
But
FBI
also,
agent.
he's a great good guy.
Yeah.
yeah.
In Mindhunter, he's fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in this movie, he's not a bad guy. He's against our team, who is a rogue, like kind of a rogue, crazy. You know what I mean? But like he's just like, we need to save the population. I've ran the numbers. We've got our strategy here.
Maybe America has made one too many movies where we root for the guys who don't follow the rules.
I know it's a
Right.
hard line to walk. Cause like we used to be like, yeah, we'll root for the underdog, the guy doing whatever. But now you're like the people that want to go against the
You're kind of
government.
like,
I don't know if those were the good guys.
I don't know.
But okay, so essentially what it is
Imagine making Rambo, like the first Rambo in
How about-
2025.
or how about what, the second or third one? Which the ones when he works
Third
with
one. The
yeah,
third one
we
where
don't-
he works with
With
what
the
will become
Taliban.
the Taliban.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then the movie goes, this is dedicated to
the Mujahideen. Yeah.
So anyway, so Ethan comes to the government with this proposition. Luther is killed. So what's his face?
Well,
from
like,
the-
which is weird. Like, they definitely set it up. Like, Luther has cancer. He's dying.
oh, he does. I didn't
Yeah.
remember
Oh,
why
yeah.
he was.
Remember,
in the-
he's got like the
Yeah.
tubes in.
They
Okay.
never really say what.
right.
Yeah,
I never
has,
caught
but-
that. Okay, so
But
he's
I mean,
sick.
he's got a medical
got
bed,
something.
and yeah.
So his time is running out
Yeah.
anyway, and so he's like, if one of us has to die,
Gabriel
it's-
basically says one of your team is going to die, and we find out that it's Luther.
It's the
I
guy.
didn't-
It's the guy who's dying.
yeah.
That's a hot take, entity. You're really blowing our
yeah.
minds.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I thought Gabriel was a lame villain in the last one. I wasn't excited
He's
to see him.
equally
He's
as
just,
lame.
He's just such a plain like.
It's hard because you had
Generic villain.
some serious powerhouses as villains
Well,
before.
like Philip Seymour Hoffman,
Yeah.
just like chewing the scenery and being amazing at it.
The guy who was supposed to be Wolverine, but then lost Wolverine because he got hurt in
Oh,
Mission
yeah.
Impossible 2.
Yeah. Oh.
Talk
But-
about a like.
I know.
That's so, you know
What a
you
crazy
well, you look at
butterfly effect.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Like you're going to be. Hugh Jackman is a nobody.
Right.
He's a
Oklahoma. He did a Broadway version of
legitimately
Oklahoma.
nobody. This guy gets the role of Wolverine that, looking back on it now, is going to span 30
Yeah,
years.
If we
crazy.
had the internet we have now,
Oh,
they would have lost their goddamn
Oh, yeah.
mind when they cast
Hugh Jackman.
the guy from Oklahoma.
Oh yeah. And then
Woke.
guy gets hurt. Guy gets hurt on the set
Yeah.
and can't do Wolverine, and they're like, this guy works. And
Now he is.
and now
Wolverine
he is Wolverine
forevermore.
which is wild.
All right. Gotta get through the plot of this movie. Let me just breeze past a couple points. So they've got this key. He comes with a proposition to the government saying, I need to locate the entity's hard drive that has their source
Which we
code.
know is in a sub.
Yeah, and it can only be unlocked by this key. If you open the door without this key, it like self-destructs and sets off missiles or whatever. You know, you'll ruin it. You have to use this key. We don't know where this sub is. We have to find the coordinates of this sub. The only thing we have to go off of was when this sub crashed, there are listening stations all around the world that are listening to underwater noises.
Like
and,
sonar, basically.
Yeah, and there will be a record of when this thing crashed. So we have
Except
the
we
date.
don't have that record because we have cut all the funding.
Correct.
That was very believable.
Yeah,
Now that was
right.
prescient. They may have done some rewrites at the last minute for that one. So anyway, they have to. So basically, he has to split his team up. He's sending Benji and Haley Atwell to this like remote station that would be the closest one to where the thing would have sunk to get the coordinates, and then he is going to the area.
He's going
he has
to
get on a sub.
He's got to get on a sub that will that can find that can receive the coordinates.
Yeah, and then
around them.
drop him off near it, and has whatever resources he needs. So the team's split up, and so essentially what happens is they go to this Siberia or wherever, near Russia in the water. That's where they
think
find
it's called St. Marcus Island.
Okay.
I think.
And then that's where they meet the guy from the first movie who's really awesome. And he essentially, like, they show up and they try to pretend to be something, and someone lets it slip. Like,
well, Benji's
Mantis.
basically Benji says, he's like, look, these people are hardcore trained CIA agents. They're experts at extracting information. Let's not give them any indication as to who we are or what we're doing. If they open the door and this woman opens the door and they're all kind of taken aback by like, what the hell's like, you are the manning this station? And then the guy comes around the corner and it's Dunlow.
Yeah.
And then Benji just starts talking.
Well, I think Mantis says something. Doesn't she give it away?
No, Benji says everything.
Oh,
He's
Benji
like, he
says
just
it?
starts very Simon Pegg-esque.
Yeah, Haley Atwell's trying to like be undercover. Okay, and then Benji just says, "This is what we're doing. We're trying to." And he's like, "Can you help us?" And he goes, "I wish I could." And then Russians come from all angles. They got there first. So basically, Russia is trying to supposedly
do the same thing.
Supposedly, who knows if it's for good or for bad. There's a trust issue going on, but they are trying to find the thing and supposedly shut it down and take out the entity. And so, and I do like that line when Haley Atwell's like, "Look,
I like that.
this
a
is
lot.
what we're trying to do. Like, we're trying to stop this thing and whatever. We're on the same team.
Can we not be Russians and like Americans and
be
I was
humans,
like,
right?
I mean, okay.
And then he's like, if you were in my shoes, would you believe me? And she's like, no, right? And so like, totally understandable and believable. They're like, you have an hour, get us these coordinates.
Yeah, well, you have to build, like, all of these discs are now on like floppy disks, so he has to build a drive.
And because they were like upgrading their systems and getting rid of old technology, they took his floppy disk reader away.
Well, it's Carrie Ewells.
Yeah.
Carrie Ewells shows back up in this random scene, who was the head of the CIA.
Remember, it's always now.
Oh, it is always. You're right. Sorry. He was the head of the CIA in the last one, I think.
Yeah, he was a bad guy. He was a bad guy, right?
Yeah,
he was a double agent working for the CIA. So anyway, they took it away. He says, you have 1 hour to build a floppy disk reader. Well, that just, I mean, what? Like,
but I mean, like, in fairness, we do have these two characters who are very good at and they did it, but none of the floppy disks work because Dunlow.
Well, it was irrelevant. It was irrelevant that, I mean, whether or not they could build it or not, what's his name again? Dunlow. He basically says, hey, so none of these are on. It's not on here anymore, but I did find the coordinates before they got rid of them and wiped the disks and all that. And he's like, I've got it memorized. What does it say? Like down to the meter or something?
But they said that like the coordinates will be down to like the 120 meters or something. So then Ethan gets, he meets what's her name from
Hannah Waddingham
from Ted Lasso, who's doing a pretty good American accent.
Yeah,
Didn't
she's
expect
fine.
that.
When I saw her, I'm like, yeah, wait, she's from
she popped up. I was like, what the hell? Like, where did this come from? But there's all kind, like Kate O'Brien is in this.
Yeah,
as like a
from Love Lies Bleeding.
Yeah, throwaway
and
character.
Obi-Wan, was she the?
No,
it was either Mando or Obi-Wan.
It was Mando.
Was it Mando?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Love
Lies
Lies Bleeding, though. We always talk about how much we love that.
She was great
awesome
in that.
Yeah.
But I was like, well,
and the guy from Severance.
Yeah,
that guy?
He's great. Hey, mister. Look here, mister. He was so funny.
Was that the guy, the captain?
Yeah, with the mustache.
Oh,
he's from
okay,
Severance.
okay.
He's great.
The captain of the sub that he has.
Yeah. So basically, they have to train him to use this super top secret suit to get under, because the water's so cold and so deep.
Yeah.
But they're scanning. They can only scan every 15 minutes because that will give their position away to the Russians. So on the last
15 minutes every 2 hours.
Yeah, on the last possible thing, they of
course
Dunlow has. There's a fight that breaks out at the island. Dunlow is quickly sending the coordinates via.
Well, he sends Haley Atwell and his wife away.
Right.
To go to
this spot.
Yeah, to meet up with where they're going to get the decompression stuff to where Ethan's going to pop up later. And that's what we find out is like, and we know from that movie we watched, that awesome underwater.
I didn't watch it.
Oh, you heard about it?
I did hear about it.
Yeah, it was a really good movie with the guy that survived and the underwater stuff. So we know about the
Speaking of that, did you see the video of the woman who she's the wife and the mother of the people that were down in that submarine?
No.
And she watches it happen. Like she hears the pop.
Oh.
And she was like, "What was that?" It was
from the real time. Oh my god.
She hears like the sound of it decompressing, and she goes, "What was that?" and then she tries to get on the radio and there's nothing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Jesus. But anyway, so anyway, if go watch that movie. I can't remember the one with
Simu Liu.
yeah, it's really, really good movie, but it's a real life story about a guy that went down so deep and the pressure, but anyway, and how cold it is. And so now when I watch this, if I hadn't seen that movie, I'd probably be like, no way he can survive that.
Also,
But I'm like, well,
maybe.
Last Breath.
the last breath. Okay.
I believe it's streaming for free on Peacock.
Oh, nice.
okay.
And there's a documentary we talk about that is
Also called Last Breath.
and it's like super accurate. The
Okay,
movie
okay.
recreates the documentary. But now that I've seen that, I seriously was like, well, it could happen.
Yeah.
And this is like the world's most in shape,
Yeah, right,
incredible
right,
human
right,
being,
right.
right? As we've been told. So, but so anyway, so he has to go down. And so this is one of two action set
This is
pieces,
a pretty
which are
impressive-
just incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, these two, and this is what you're here for, right? We're
Right.
looking for what is the next real thing that Tom Cruise is going to do and risk his life for us. And that is why he's a great action star. mean,
I
there's
don't
no-
disagree. I've made my feelings about him very clear, but
I wish he had started doing things like this earlier in his life. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man,
Sure.
he didn't start doing this until he was in his 40s.
probably,
Right.
yeah.
You know,
yeah.
imagine if he'd have been doing stuff like this, what those movies
Right.
would have looked
Too
like.
busy doing Born on the 4th of July.
But
Well, I
he's
mean,
a-
it's good to do,
That's true. That's true.
like quote unquote real movies, but
I mean, he's made some great movies.
I think
but
Night and Day is when this flip happens. for
he
him.
had to because he
ruined
out.
his
He was on
career.
the outs.
Yeah.
And so he had, in that movie came, he did Collateral. He did Night and Day.
Collateral's insanely
Love
good.
Collateral.
It's so good.
So good. But anyway, so he is tasked with this. So he goes down and he has to get to the submarine that has the hard drive we talked about with the source code for the entity. And so he is like, he's going into the hatch of the submarine and some water gets in, and so things start shifting around. The submarine that's been settled
Starts
since
to
96. Yeah, the water goes into it. And so now it's like turning and falls off whatever seabed that it's on. And so the whole place is rotating. Meanwhile, to get to the computer, he has to go through like the missile silo or whatever,
It's
the
basically,
torpedo.
it looks like a video game. No, he's got a
like
he's
torpedo silo.
No,
where
that's
they're
how
all-
he gets out.
No, he has to go through it to
he
get
has to go through it
because
the
they
first time,
closes the door.
and
remember?
then he goes back. He has to go back
Through
through
it,
it,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
now
okay,
they're all
okay.
floating
Yeah,
around.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
there's water in there and the thing's shifting. So now you are on the edge of your seat where torpedoes are falling, right? And they're locking him in the room. He gets in there, he turns the key, gets the hard drive, gets out, but now he's
The door is blocked.
fumbling around. Yeah, he tries to go out through a torpedo latch thing and he can't fit. And then he ends up having to take off all his suit and gear and like push it in front of him so he can fit through the thing. And of course, this is ice cold water.
Yeah.
Whatever. He's superhuman, right? Like
Right,
it's just
right,
like
right,
Tom Cruise, incredible. And for he's in great shape for.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't debate
Nope.
that. It's like, I
Nope.
mean, could he really do this stuff? I don't know, but he looks like the part for a
I
movie.
think with this makes
like,
sense.
The part where I was just like, when he takes off the decompression suit,
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know.
You
about
did,
that.
bro.
I don't.
Like-
Yeah, I don't know. And, I mean, it would be so cold though. Is the thing that
It-
suit heats you too? I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, you can't be under moving in those.
Well,
it's
also,
probably sub negative.
you
whatever.
think
Yeah.
he's probably, I think they say he's about 500 feet below the surface, and then he gets stuck on the submarine that's falling into a crater
That's going
so he's
deeper.
going even
Oh, yeah.
deeper, so he's
Yeah.
got, I'm not saying he's 1,000 feet below, but he's probably
No,
about
it's
800
crazy.
feet.
But this is why we go to these movies.
Yeah.
Right. So like, it's fun, and this is what these movies should be.
You
and
accept the fact that he can make this happen.
that are at its peak.
Yeah.
We're rooting for Ethan Hunt. He's a good guy, saving the world, doing this stuff. It's great. So anyway, he pushes his suit out. So he's like in his underwear, basically pushing his suit out. And then as soon as he gets like almost
Tom
to,
Cruise wants you to see him without a shirt on.
I gotta tell you,
hey,
it's
you putting
happens
that
a-
much work?
That's true. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
you putting that much work,
Yeah.
you're gonna show it off. And then he's almost escaped out of it. The submarine is continually crashing and it snags his gear.
Yep.
So what else is he to do?
Takes it off.
At 500, 600, 700 feet below the surface. Where I don't need any of that.
Yeah.
Holds his breath in
Yeah.
the negative whatever temperature.
Has got his little tracking device plus the
and
MacGuffin.
just scoots right up to the surface.
Yeah, and so then he.
I didn't
Haley-
like that part where it's
No.
like he like
I did like it, but it was like, come on.
he he floats to the top, and then it's just like, let's not worry about how they found him.
Yeah.
Let's.
Well, I think that
They will find
He
him.
activates this
No, they
tracking
said
device.
that with that tracker that they put on him that they can locate him very specifically to where he is. So she tracked him to that exact spot.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
remember
yeah.
that.
Within a very small
Yeah.
proximity. Like
Yeah,
it will
Katie
track.
O'Brien tells him that.
They
Or
made
Kate
sure to
O'Brien.
tell you
I
that.
missed that.
So
went past me.
yeah, so Haley Atwell was there waiting, and she could track him to the point, and they cut him
Gotcha.
out.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he wakes up. Haley Atwell.
They make sure that
CPR.
they make sure that you see Haley Atwell all the way.
It's very interesting to be out in the Arctic, but you're in
a tank top.
I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm not saying,
No.
you know, like, oh, how dare you show me that.
Also, Haley Atwell is stacked.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But why would she be in a tank top?
Which
in
is
the-
also something they've never done. I don't think they've ever sexualized
It's not really that type of
any of the, you know, you had Michelle Monaghan, you had Rebecca Ferguson,
Oh,
Haley
I mean,
Atwell.
you have beautiful.
Yeah, I
people
mean, I
in the
guess you
movies,
have.
for
I
sure.
guess there's that.
You
There's
have
that
Vanessa
scene.
Kirby.
Oh yeah, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
They showed it. Didn't you watch the movie?
They did.
showed you two or
oh,
three times.
They
They
showed
making
a
out
lot
with
of
her.
Vanessa Kirby. I guess they do have that scene with Rebecca Ferguson where she's fighting somebody in like a
that
very
gold dress? Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
which is ridiculous. Like she's
And that
she's
is
incredible.
why they should all be put in jail for killing her off in these movies.
So it is wild, right? This is what we talked about. So they get the MacGuffin as soon as they get that, I think that the UK falls, Russia falls, China falls. It's just the United States. Nick Offerman is in this movie randomly.
I like the twist there. I like that where basically they set up in the movie, they say, or Angela Bassett, someone close to the president says at some point someone is going to try to stop me from doing this because she is taking a risk. She's putting everything in the hands of this like fugitive rogue agent that's on the run. And so she goes, someone's going to stop me. So in one of their meetings outside of it, Nick Offerman, who's like a general, like a high up, I don't know what his actual...
I think he's like the general, like the guy.
Okay, he's the head of the...
Like Joint Chiefs of
Joint-
Staff.
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
He walks out to the guy guarding the room and he's like, you know,
Give me your
Sergeant,
sidearm.
give me your sidearm or whatever. And you're like, what? And so you're thinking like, oh, he's going to, if the
So
president
this is
makes
the moment where I was like, oh, that's Rebecca Ferguson. Like that's going to be this is the twist, right?
Oh,
You think
she's
Ethan-
going to have a mask?
You think Ethan's going to be out of time and the president's going to push the button. I was like, Nick Offerman's going to pull the gun on the president
That's
and
what...
pull the mask off. And it's
Oh.
Rebecca Ferguson saying, give him 5 more minutes or something.
This is good though because you are supposed to think Nick Offerman is going to, if the president makes what he thinks is a crazy decision, he's got the gun now.
Right.
And I like it that he essentially had it in case someone else did something crazy. So anyway, so later on she's about to press the button, what we didn't say is that not only is this going to take out all these missile bases around the world, they have to choose a U.S. city for like good faith. So
They're basically like, hey, we know we blew up your cities, but we blew up one of ours too.
It's strategic.
Spoiler for a 70-year-old movie people probably don't even know about. This is the plot of Failsafe.
Oh, really?
No,
There's a really good, intense movie called Failsafe. Henry Fonda, Walter Matthau, where the idea of Failsafe is that if they're going to launch atomic weapons at the time, right? And that's how old the movie is. That they're they have all these fail-safes in plan so they can't accidentally do that. And so as you're watching this movie, they have like multiple fail-safes at different points. And as you're watching the movie, each one fails. Each fail-safe fails. And as to where they're like they accidentally send out a plane with an atomic bomb to drop on like Moscow. And they're like they can't recall it. Everything keeps not working for them to recall this pilot. And the pilot's been trained that like unless you get this thing, you do not stop. And you're like, how are they going to solve it? And then like at the end of the spoil fails.
That's okay.
they have to take themselves out.
They decide to drop an atomic weapon on New York to convince Moscow that they're not starting a war with them, that this is an accident and they can't stop it. And as an act of good faith, they then drop an atomic bomb on New York. I think it was New York City, but an American city.
Okay.
It is. I mean, in that is kind of here where Colt McElhenney is Holt is basically like, look, when we do this, like we're going to war.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing we can do. We're gonna blow up every major nuclear facility.
Yeah.
Right.
And we are going to war. So yeah, Angela Bassett has her finger on the button, and at the last possible second, she's like, no. And she's like, I can't do this.
I'm going to trust in our Lord and Savior, Ethan Hunt.
Xenu. So she says this is the thing we should have done from the get. We should have turned off
kill the power,
so
the AI, the entity can't infest our system because there's no power.
There's no power. And they do that. And
some rogues.
Well, we should say that, like, we find out in the beginning of this movie that there is basically a cult,
like a death cult
that has surrounded.
That's not
the
Republican Party,
correct?
And that they're infiltrating various police and
all over
military,
the place.
And
So
is it crazy that when you watch this movie now, these things that might seem far fetched, like used to be like, oh, this is movie stuff,
right?
But I watch this and I'm just like, yeah, this is extremely. We've got AI is everywhere. You've got people in a cult that will do whatever against the government to help this conspiracy theory, whatever AI stuff, and you're just like, this is totally plausible.
Where we are. The running gag, right, as you watch Escape from New York, that happens in 1997, right? The Terminator is 1999. And it's just kind of like, well, that's insane.
AI is the modern
AI
Skynet.
is 100% Skynet. Yeah. We have had to have meetings with people where I'm like, stop writing your reports with AI. Like, they'll submit reports and I can read them like, you didn't write that. Like, you put in the facts of what happened and then you had AI generate the report. I'm like, don't do that. Like, that's how you get jammed up on something.
Yeah.
So, like, it is all over. And then the Open AI or whatever, like, is this new
the video thing.
Yeah,
that's Google Vero 3.
It's terrifying.
It is. I almost sent you guys a clip because there was this like minute-long commercial I cut or something. It's like, I've got a voice and I've got a voice. It goes on for a minute. It all looks like real people.
Yep. Yeah.
And
it's
now,
terrifying.
So it's like $100 a month on sale, usually $200 if you want to try this new thing, which, like, I wish I had the cash to burn just to try it out.
Right,
It's crazy. But like, you can make full scenes. Like, it's like there's no stopping it.
This is the stuff that people in Hollywood were afraid of.
Yeah. Right. Because it's at the point now. This is, the Google Vero 3 is at the point where it's like, this is it.
This is the one that they were just like,
now that this one's out and it's only going to get better. Like, you can make full scenes.
Yep.
Like, in there, actors aren't getting credited. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just making people up. They look believable. I'm not saying I'm pro it or I think that like it's ever gonna have the heart of a movie. I'm just saying it looks good enough where studios, to save money, are gonna start using this crap,
especially like for background actors.
Yeah.
And
this is not Space Jam 2. We've come a long way, and that was only 5 years ago. Right.
That's
remember
how fast
how bad
it is.
Space Jam 2 and they were already doing that. Now look how good it is. With this Vero 3 or whatever, they're easily going to be able to make background people because you're talking about scenes where like they're putting the camera in like very cinematic looking things and they're
talking about the video where they each are like, I'm made up of prompts.
Well, there's a lot of them. This one, everyone said, I have a voice. It was each.
I saw one this morning where it was like, and it went on for like 4 or 5 minutes, and it was just various scenes, and a lot of the actors kept saying like, I'm made up entirely of prompts. And it's like, I mean, and
there's a really good one that someone did as kind of like an anti-AI argument where they're like, you created me out of prompts and I'm like, you could have given me a soul or whatever.
That's terrifying.
Right? It's the AI talking, being self-aware, but they're real looking people with very real sounding voices saying like, you made me and you made me do these terrible things when you could, like, it's weird. It's a weird, but the point is though, like, it's here. And so everything in this movie that they're predicting, it's just like when people said, Skynet, and no one listened. This movie is saying, if you do not stop with this AI crap, because obviously Tom Cruise is pro worker and real people in movies, he doesn't want AI. Like, he's saying, if you do not stop this thing is going to turn on you and take over the world. And I'm not trying to get like off my rocker conspiracy-esque, but it's like,
it's exactly it's what he's saying.
It's 100%. But what we're seeing is like, if it keeps getting better and better and better, what's to stop it from doing bad stuff?
Well, I mean, but then you've got guys like Michael Bay who's just kind of like, let's do it.
And Stallone is going all in on.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's going in on AI. It's scary when you see like these big Hollywood people that you think that you can trust.
Well, it's wild. I mean, it's somebody like Stallone who started as
a scrap,
right? The fact that he got Rocky
he's
made
lost
is
his
insane.
way. He's way off from where he started, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's a writer. He wrote Rocky, and and he's like, I'll star in it for no money if you let me, or I'll take no money if you let me star in it.
Right.
And, anyway, so this movie is very prescient, it seems, and it's like, the point is, I couldn't believe how believable these like far-fetched, the secret cover-up conspiracy, whatever. It's like, no, this is like,
no, this is real.
This is fiction. So anyway, so he's got the key, or he's got the hard drive, and what's his face, the bad guy,
Gabriel.
Blandy McBlanderson, Gabriel. He is holding the
poison pill
that Luther created, and so essentially what happens is the poison pill will trick the entity into doing whatever you want it to do, and Gabriel wants to control it. Ethan and the crew want to trap it so that it like downloads itself into a flash drive and thinks that it's safe, but if they do it within 100 milliseconds, if they let it download and take it out, it will unplug it before it can launch all the missiles around the world.
Right.
So they have this, once again, I mean, they are the impossible
They
mission
are.
force.
I mean, there's a
after
reason.
all.
Like I don't even have a problem with this this plan.
Yeah,
where they're
no, it's
basically
fun.
like, I don't know how we're gonna do it,
Yeah.
but this is who we are. We're gonna do it.
I mean, yeah, it's self-aware enough to be like, guys, at this point, are you really going to doubt us? Like, yes, this is impossible, but every mission's impossible. That's what we do with these things.
So there's a
If every mission is impossible, no
that's
missions
right.
are
That's true.
impossible.
For them, it's true.
So there's like this cave. So there's a server room in the cave that holds all of, I assume it's just the United States history.
This is really cool, right? Because think about it. If there was a fallout, if civilization fell completely or whatever, then whatever, millions of years later, billions of years, whatever comes, we'll like have to
Like a
reinvent.
Doomsday vault, and
Yeah.
they have things like, I know there's one like this for
Yeah.
seeds.
Seeds.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
we have so many genetically modified
Oh.
seeds. There's like a Doomsday vault to where like we have seeds that aren't,
Yeah.
and that if ever there was something to wipe everything, like you could go and
Get some
them.
corn or something.
Yeah.
But this
Got
is
it.
smart, though, right? So, like, civilization could continue without the knowledge being lost. Because what was it like in Rome? Like, you've been to Disney World. You've ridden the big spaceship Earth, right? They tell you, like, there was a fire and they lost the history of civilization going back so far. And so this is a way to...
like when
Pompeii?
Alexander the Great's library.
Yeah,
burned.
right. And they had all this knowledge that they lost, and they had to like rewrite it from memory and all, whatever. So it's a really smart thing to where they have this server room way underground, cannot be hit with electromagnetic.
EMPs aren't going to work down there. Yeah.
Right. There's all these fail safes, so it's a very secure, safe location, and that is where the entity is going to download itself while it launches missiles, so that it can survive. And then I don't know what its end game is a little bit iffy. Like, what is this computer trying to do?
It's just gonna wait it out. But I also don't get like if it's gonna wait it out. But like for who? If your ideal is like we're gonna control the people, but I'm gonna kill them first.
But they killed right. That's what I'm saying. Like the end game's a little bit
they
like
say that like they don't think that not everyone will die, and so the people that are left will be like the really strong ones.
Oh, okay. So their plan is that they are going to, he says, we're going to let him think that he's been downloaded in this secure facility, but we're going to pull the flash drive out before he can launch the missiles.
Yeah.
And then we will have this thing. Now, I don't know why you wouldn't then just destroy it instantly.
Well, that was my
when they
question.
give it to him to walk around with, I'm like,
Break it.
Stop it.
Get rid of it.
I really thought they were going to download it once it was safe and everything was saved. Break it.
Yeah.
Do not keep that around.
Why are you keeping it?
That is so
I
stupid.
picture it like
I don't like that.
when Ethan Hunt finally dies and they're going through his stuff, like, what's this weird
Let's
glowing?
plug it in.
What's this weird glow? Yeah,
Let's
plug
plug
it
it in. What does this do? Plug it in.
no!
Plug it into the government servers. See what it does. But yeah, so spoilers. They're going to save the day. I hate to break it to you. So
basically, he says that like the reason Haley Atwell is here is because she's this insanely good pickpocket.
We see it in the last movie.
Yeah.
She's amazing at that.
He's like, you're the only one whose hands are fast enough. He's like, I saw how fast you jerked me off in that.
Yeah.
100
milliseconds.
100 milliseconds.
Actually, it was the same time he knew it.
That was
Yep.
impressive.
That's really.
That's a good jerk.
Hey, welcome back.
But she's like they basically Ethan is going to plug the poison pill into the MacGuffin. They've got this other thing where it's inside the mainframe where like as soon as it turns green, we know that it's uploading.
Yeah.
And then this
You have 100
cartridge is going
milliseconds.
to turn yellow, and you're going to, as soon as it lights up, you're going to pull it off.
Yeah, she's the only one that can move
'cause
that
her-
fast to
she's-
do it.
yeah.
So they get down to the secure location, but then Kittredge shows up with the son
Shea
of
Wiggum,
with whatever. We get that whole thing about why he hates him. Oh yeah, by the way, as this movie's about to end, I've had this
By
vendetta
the
against you.
way.
You ruined my dad's life. Okay, good to know. So they show up and Kittredge has them all at gunpoint, and he's like,
Kittredge,
why?
who was it's wild. That guy was in 1,
He's from the
and
first
then he
one,
was in
too.
7.
Yeah,
That's like
they did the Legacy sequel thing with Kittredge first, where it was like, holy crap, this guy's back, right?
Right.
And then this
I
one,
do like the line when they're having that joint chief of staffs meeting where basically they're talking about how Ethan Hunt he did this and he did this and he infiltrated a meeting of
You were supposed to
he goes
be there.
Weren't you all of you there? And they're just kind of like we were there too. He got us
So
with the gas.
He shows up and basically gets Gabriel, the IMF team, everybody at gunpoint. He's like, "What are you doing here?" He goes, and meanwhile, Gabriel has started like Gabriel's thing is he brings around nuclear bombs and sets them everywhere with a timer, right? Like that's how Luther dies, disarming this nuclear bomb. So
He's
we've
like,
already
I can. The bomb's gonna go off, but it won't go nuclear.
the detonators are going to go off, but the nuclear blast won't happen. And so that's how Luther dies. So we've already kind of seen this situation.
Now this is a bigger one.
So now we get to this even bigger one, and we know that there's 3 charges in this one, right?
Yeah.
So 3 people have to stay behind. So it ends up being Donlow, his wife, and then our new guy,
The guy who was Shea Wiggum's partner in the last
one. So he is
who has
like
now joined the IMF, or he just joined the team.
In the beginning of the movie, he's escorting Mantis to jail or whatever, and then that's where you see the masks come off, and they recruit him. They say, "Listen, you got to trust us. You know that we're the only way to save the world, blah, blah, blah." And he's a cool character.
No, I like him,
He's good. So he says, "I'll stay behind while you guys are in the server room. I don't have anything to do with that." So they each have to disassemble the bomb. Basically, Donlow does the disassembling, and each of them has to hold a detonator up. And then as he's working on it, because he's this genius with numbers and wires and everything, he says, "Hey, we can delay this by 10 seconds.
Right.
So we'll have 10 seconds to run into that server room, which is super secure and everything." And then the new guy looks at Donlow and he's like, "Can you get to that door in 10 seconds?" And he's like, "We'll find out."
Which I like that line. He's like, "I don't know.
What's your better option?
What's the other option?" Yeah.
So they're going to disable it, and then they'll have 10 seconds before the charges go off. Meanwhile, Benji... Then the Gabriel's guys...
I got to tell you, this is a good scene. I do miss Simon Pegg a lot.
Yeah.
Like, he has kind of gotten away from doing acting stuff. He hasn't
just does these movies, really.
I guess that's true.
He was on a show, wasn't he? Didn't he do a show?
I don't think so. He was on The Boys.
Yeah,
He was just because he was the basis for Jack.
Yeah, that was cool that they did that.
Which I thought was fun.
So, yeah.
But yeah, so they're all there and all the gunfights break out.
So
and
Gabriel's guys, his team ends up infiltrating, killing our guys that are holding their guys at gunpoint, right? So we've got them at gunpoint. They're all getting taken out, and now there's a big shootout. Benji's shot, we find out, as he goes
But
to
I
the
do like
server
this
room.
where he basically Tom Cruise is like, I'll go this way, you guys get to the server room.
Yeah.
And I do like the line where they're Haley Atwell and Simon Pegg are leaning up against the bomb, and he goes, "God, I thought he'd never leave."
And then he shows that he's
reveals,
hit.
and I was like, but we've lost Rebecca Ferguson, we've lost
Ethan
Ving
would have never
Rhames.
left if he thought he could save
But I'm
Benji,
thinking,
basically.
okay, you've killed 2 major characters in this franchise.
It's plausible.
It's plausible
for
to kill
sure.
him
right.
too.
Oh, totally. I thought he was done for. But anyway, so he's like, "Get me in there. I'll direct you." And then he has to have Pom Klementov do surgery on him while Haley Atwell does the hacking stuff.
Right.
So I thought this was an amazing scene.
This is
one of my
very
favorite
well
scenes.
done.
Simon Pegg is so
He's
good
the
at
man.
this.
He's
where
so
he's
good.
directing one person about hacking and one person at surgery.
He is so, like, I don't want to say he's an underrated actor, but you don't see him in a lot of he's great as Scotty. He's great in these. Obviously the Cornetto trilogy, all that stuff.
I feel like Simon Pegg and Ving Rhames both have made so much money from this franchise that they're just like,
whatever.
I don't gotta do anything.
Right.
This
You know
is
what I
what
mean?
they do now.
Yeah, and that it's just like, I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have I'm a multimillionaire,
Right.
and I don't need to live like Tom Cruise lives. I mean, obviously that's like next level in terms of wealth, but they're like, I have millions and millions of dollars, and
I'm
I
good
paid
to
for
go.
my house in cash, and I
This-
can do whatever I want.
I can make Paul 2 if I want. Yeah.
This is Benji's 6th movie, and this is Luther's 7th, I guess.
No, I don't think he's in 2. Oh, he might be in 2.
Well, no, what, 3, 4, 5,
Oh,
6,
this is
7,
8.
8.
This is 8.
This
Okay.
is his
Yeah,
6th
then
movie,
yes.
and Luther's been in either 5 or 6. I don't know if he skipped one, but like, and this is a $400 million budget movie.
Yeah.
Like they're making a payday on these.
They're
at this
doing
point,
just fine.
right? So, but anyway, he's great. Simon Pegg. This whole thing's great. Meanwhile, Ethan has stolen a dune buggy or whatever, and he's after Gabriel.
Yeah.
Because he has to get the USB drive, the poison pill that's on his neck, like on a necklace, and plug it in because they can't download the thing.
Right.
The poison pill tells the sorry, I forgot the name of the entity.
The MacGuffin.
What to download itself, right? So this is where you get the start of the second amazing action
Which
sequence.
this is unbelievable.
He chases him through the tunnels, crashes his car, runs out to the runway. We get the
course.
Tom Cruise run, which
You
I
get
thought was fun.
You get it like 3 times.
But you got to, it's his trademark thing in these movies. So he's running after a plane. I go, if he catches a plane on foot,
I know.
swear,
I was thinking the same thing.
I like that he let it outrun him. But now we know that Gabriel has like a henchman that's always with him, right? There was
Well,
escape-
he
He
says,
says I have a second plane.
I even brought a spare
did, yeah.
plane in
Yeah.
case something goes wrong with the first one. Like I've planned for everything.
And these are non-digital planes.
Yes.
These are analog planes where
The
it's,
entity
there's
cannot
no,
touch 'em.
Yeah, there's no
They're like
electrical.
biplanes from.
Yeah.
They're like what, like the Red Baron.
Yeah,
would
it's
be.
like
Yeah,
it's a
right.
single engine in the
like the
front.
crop dusting
A
plane
crop
from
duster.
North
Yeah,
by
that's
Northwest.
exactly what it looks
Yeah.
like.
And I
yeah.
think they also have to do that because if you do action sequences and there's all sorts of engines and stuff, like
Yeah,
it'd
you're
be
getting
very
sucked into
dangerous.
one of those
you gotta
engines.
have one propeller at the front
Right.
and then nothing else. So anyway, so Gabriel speeds off over his head. He outruns him, and then all of a sudden here comes the second one, and Tom Cruise like drops down and grabs the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And then this is the start of just this unbelievable.
I mean, it's got to be at least a 10-minute sequence.
If
not
bare
more.
minimum. Now it is cutting back and forth,
Yeah.
but of pure footage, yeah, there's like 10 at least minutes of aerial footage, and we know Tom Cruise is on the side of that plane. I don't care if he has a harness on or what.
Doesn't
This is
matter.
insane.
Does not
You
matter.
see the wind blowing in his face.
Yeah.
You see how fast they're moving, and Tom Cruise is hanging off the side of a
It's
plane.
insane.
I mean,
It's an airplane chase done in real time.
yeah.
And I say real time, but like there's no CGI that I can tell. Maybe the fire, maybe the flames are probably CG, but these are 2 planes flying in the air with
Yeah,
one actor
Yeah,
jumping
I mean, the
between
CG
planes.
in this scene is them erasing the safety.
Erasing
Yeah.
horses.
Oh, sure,
like
sure,
Mad
sure.
Max.
Yeah,
They did the
I
same
think that
thing.
fire's not real. I don't think that fire's real.
It looked very. It looked. I mean,
I think
could-
that's where we are with CG and
Yeah.
fire, though. Like
I would say it all looks.
it looks incredible.
right? And again, to his credit, I don't care what you say about Tom Cruise and his personal beliefs or
I
whatever.
believe- yeah,
he
no,
puts his life on the line to provide
don't
entertainment
disagree.
for us, like no one else, no movie star has ever done. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, stuntmen, they're incredible. This is what they do. They risk their lives, but no one of his caliber
Nope.
does this.
Nope.
And I think the only reason he can is because he fronts the money for
There's
it.
Matt Damon tells a very funny story about talking to Tom Cruise about these movies.
Yeah.
And he was like, how do you, he's like, I had a stunt coordinator that was like, Tom, like, you can't do that. Like, that's just not safe. It's not plausible.
Yeah.
And Matt Damon's like, what did you do? He's like, I fired him. And I brought another one who said, you can do that.
Well, but the other thing is too, it's not just the safety of it, it's the insurance.
Uh-huh.
These movies,
Yeah.
this is a $400 million movie. They have to be insured, and they have to find someone who will insure it, because if Tom Cruise dies on this movie,
Game over.
$400 million.
Or even if he gets
Gets hurt. What was the last? No,
it
second
was
to last one?
6 that
Where
Where
he
he
broke
shatters
his
his
ankle,
ankle
yeah.
and
He
then gets
jumps.
up and has to keep running.
Yeah, like I mean, they shut down production for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But
God
okay.
forbid you don't wear a mask, though. Don't you remember that? There was that audio that leaked where there were production people that weren't.
Good for him.
No,
Yeah,
I know.
100%.
I in that moment,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like when things were getting
Yeah.
shut down because
Because he's like,
one,
we're here saving the movie industry, and you're seriously not.
there's the issue. He's like, I am saving
But
the
he was.
Okay, but like
Jobs were on the line.
I
Not
know.
just health, but
But like he did.
He did.
Like I mean
I know.
that was the first giant hit.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, like
Yeah.
everybody kind
Coming
of
out
was
of-
like,
coming out
I'm
of
gonna go
COVID.
back to the movie theaters.
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
Top Gun
this is
2.
not Christian Bale being a prima donna. It's
Yeah.
completely different, right?
Like-
your my lights are in my way.
I also feel like
was
that one
crazy.
is the guy who, like, he's on the set of a Terminator movie who he wants to get it done, and it sounds like he may have shot that scene 3 or 4
right.
times.
I get it. Could be frustrating, but I'm saying
Thank God he never worked with Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, is that right?
Kubrick
Oh,
was
no, that's
notorious
true.
for like
yeah,
shooting scenes
super
50,
like,
60
Oh,
times.
Yeah, Fincher's
he,
the same way.
Made Shelley Duvall go.
he broke her.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
But so anyway, Tom Cruise, I'm not saying like, oh yes, that was 100% the exact right way to handle it, but the dude is trying to save the movie industry. He's employing all those people.
That's true. I
And
don't
if
disagree
COVID
with that.
spreads around and shuts it down.
Especially at that point
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
COVID.
So-
Like,
And
we're-
my guess is the insurance company was probably
Yeah.
like, but we're not going to cover COVID.
Yeah.
Because I know that like when from a concert standpoint, when COVID hit, everybody like canceled and ate it and but like when we were coming back out, every contract I saw, I mean, they still say it to this day, but if it's COVID or a pandemic, it shuts it down, tough shit, you're paying us.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway,
I don't disagree with what you're saying. I also just think it was absolutely an opportunity for him to.
It sounds like the height of hubris, and it would be if, like, God damn it, if he weren't right.
I know that's the thing. He was right.
Right.
It could have been handled better, sure, but the frustration of putting the money on the line and everything. But so anyway, he's got the money to put up, and it's his production company, right?
Which is the first time I've seen. I don't remember seeing that on the other movies. A Tom Cruise production.
Yeah,
they
that
say
is
that?
different. And it's probably because he had to put up a lot more money on.
I had
this
never
one.
seen that on the other. I don't think I'd ever seen that on the other ones.
I don't
before.
remember it. You're right. It did strike me when it goes a Tom Cruise production. Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
It goes, right. I always notice those
Tom
double
Cruise
ones.
production starring Tom Cruise.
You know those posters
executive
where it
producer
goes
Tom Cruise.
written by, directed by, star, like all the things. So anyway, scene
Christopher McQuarrie's like, I'm here too.
Scene's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Edge of your seat, bouncing back and forth between these incredible aerial stunts, the hacking stuff. Benji.
I thought the arm break on Gabriel got a great reaction in the theater.
The only thing about this, the death, the
where he flips him.
No, the death.
Oh,
of
where he
Gabriel,
hits his face.
The what's the word for it? Your expectations. I'm just totally blanking on this word. You would not expect Gabriel to die the way he did. They totally
kind of unceremoniously.
Yeah, that whole thing of like, you expect it's going to be some big old showdown and whatever.
His face gets hit. He hits the tail of the plane.
There's two things about it. So Gabriel is like, haha, I'm the only one with a parachute, and he jumps off and then gets his head split by the plane.
Yeah, right.
So that's how the big bad of two movies dies. That's a little ridiculous. But then also Tom Cruise gets in the plane. He's like, oh, here's a parachute.
So what I thought was going to happen,
he was going to dive down and get his.
Gabriel.
I thought that's what he was going to do too.
Yeah. So something
but
had
then his
to have
parachute
changed.
catches on fire.
Right, but he has a backup shoot. They have backup
So
shoots.
this is where again, where I was like, he's just going to zoop down and get Gabriel because it's his parachute.
But he's got a backup. He didn't need to. They all have, like, if your first shoot fails,
it's kind of anticlimactic when you're like, my chute's on fire. I'll just pull the backup.
I know. So something about the ending of that whole thing, with as amazing as it was, but when Gabriel dies unceremoniously, that's kind of funny because he was a douche and whatever.
Right.
But he does that. But I just don't like that he goes, I'm the only one with a shoot. It was his plane. He would have known there were two shoots in there.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise was on the plane.
But it was also on his back. Like Tom Cruise just sits back in the seat that Gabriel was in.
It was on the seat.
And just put the other chute on.
So I don't like that. The whole funny thing was like, I'm the only one with the chute. So then you think he's got to go get that chute.
Right.
No, he just sat down and got a chute.
Yeah.
So that was dumb. Something fell apart with that. And it's obviously so good that it doesn't ruin the movie or anything.
Right.
But I just thought it was weird. And then that's it. The thing downloads.
All of our characters get, the bombs go off, but we find out that everybody has made it into the server room, so they're safe.
Tom Cruise plugs the thing in while he's parachuting, and he's like fumbling around with it.
He lands with Doesn't he land and then put it in there?
He's fumbling around with it in the air.
Yeah,
he lands and the thing's done.
Right,
he does it midair, so he's able to. There's like 5 seconds left on the countdown.
Yeah,
of course, that's what they do.
Yeah.
He plugs the thing in. They see the green light. They plug it in. Haley Atwell takes the thing in the 100
and
milliseconds.
then everything. So like the other thing that they're not talking about that they kind of reference is that if we do this, we're killing the internet. Or cyberspace. They don't call the internet. It's cyberspace.
Yes.
I'm like,
how old is Chris
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Cyberspace. So they're basically saying
must save the World Wide Web.
Yeah. He consulted Al Gore. On this.
Algorithm.
I thought, that's good.
Thank you.
Oh no, that's a Space Jam. That's the villain in Space Jam. It's called Al G Rhythm.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Don Cheadle. That's his name.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Everything shuts down. Mm-hmm. And they're basically like, look, we can't do this. It'll send us back to the Stone Age. And my thought process is, so you're cool with murdering everybody, but God forbid we go back to the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Like, good Lord. So yeah, so everything shuts down.
They've got the servers with all the knowledge, though, so they should be able to like recreate whatever.
Everything.
So and in the end, it doesn't look like anything actually shut down. It
shuts down for a second and then it turns back on.
So nothing was destroyed.
No,
I know I don't quite get, but like Mission Impossible,
they cleared everyone's cache though.
That my passwords.
Yeah.
So they Kittredge and Jeff Parsons Jr. or whatever the hell his name is.
Jeff Parsons Jr. Yeah, Jim. I still can't remember his name.
Jim Phelps.
Jim Phelps.
They show
Michael
up.
Phelps
Michael
and
Phelps.
Jim Parsons
That's
had
right.
a
That's
baby,
right.
and
Yeah.
it was Jim Phelps.
That'd be a wild combination. They show up on you know, and basically Ethan there's a message from Luther that basically
That's
says
cool.
the thing we've said.
The whole thing with
Yeah.
fate and destiny. Right?
And then
It's
it's
really
like
good.
this
It's a
message will
touching
self-destruct
moment.
in 5 seconds. We didn't mention this, but I do love that when Ethan gets the mission at the beginning, it's on a VHS tape.
Love it.
Which I thought was great.
Which I love because I watched Mission Impossible for the first time on
100%.
VHS.
Yep.
You know, I wasn't old enough to go to the theaters to see it. You know, and so that's how I
Yeah,
watched it.
it
And the
was fun.
fact that the last asterisk quote movie was opening with a VHS tape
Yeah.
of where he gets his mission. Thought that was cool.
I like that.
But he gives Kittredge
the busted ass
the thing
MacGuffin.
that self-destructed, right?
I
So
love
he's
that
like,
Kittredge is looking at it and he's like turning it over and he was just like, "What the? Why is this on fire? Like what? All right."
And so that you can get this moment, the only reason they give him this backstory is so
Get the
that Jim
handshake.
Phelps Jr. he goes at him with a gun because it's like, did Kittredge order him to kill him or what? You know, whatever.
Right.
He goes with a gun and then he puts it in the other hand and shakes his hand. So it's like all is
Yeah.
forgiven. I trust you. I believe you.
Maybe
You're a
not
good
the
guy.
best way to approach
I know a handshake. With
Also
a gun.
correct.
Ethan
Oh
Hunt.
yeah.
Haha, just kidding.
I know it's so silly. It was so silly.
It's like one of those moments. It's just for the viewers.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
It
yes.
makes no sense.
So the Angela Bassett comes back and she comes back almost to like a military parade, which I thought was weird. But
I would guess that was the funeral for Nick Offerman that protected her.
Oh,
because
that
it was
could
a military.
be. Yeah,
I
that's
don't
true.
know.
That's
I'm
true.
thinking it
That's-
was a
I didn't think
military
about that.
funeral.
But like we find out.
Oh, he dies. We didn't say the
Nick Offerman. Yeah, he protects the president.
Yeah.
He ends up shooting one of the infiltrators that got into the
and
Secret
he
Service.
got shot right in
Yeah.
the heart.
So
Madam
like
President.
we should say that like at one point it definitely feels like a lot of these Joint Chiefs have had a history with Angela Bassett because she was the head of the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
So this one woman's like, "Have you talked to your son?" And she's like, "Why? What good would that do?" I thought her son was the one that Nick Offerman took the gun from initially.
Oh,
is
okay.
who I thought that was. It's not.
I thought it was going to be the new team member.
Which
Well,
would have
they
been
showed
fun. They showed a picture.
They showed a picture of him, and it was
Oh,
clearly
okay.
not.
Yeah.
Okay, I missed
Which
it.
I mean is a good.
I thought it would have been a cool
Yeah, I
tie-in to
agree.
know that he was
He
working
was there
with
the
the
whole
team,
time.
and yeah.
But all of is a very cool scene where like all of the military men military people take a step back, except for this one, and she walks up to him and he,
Hey, Mom.
well, and he
That
says
was
it. He
cool.
says it so softly.
It's so cool, yeah.
That
And
was a
I
good
liked.
scene.
I like
She's the
that.
president, but he's
right.
like, hey,
he's
Mom.
like, "Hey, Mom."
The other thing too, and we didn't get to it, but when we talk about the women in high positions, the two helicopter pilots that drop off
was one of
Ethan
them
Hunt.
Emmy Rossum.
Oh, I don't know.
There was one of those helicopter pilots that
Really?
looked just like and sounded like Emmy Rossum.
Oh, okay. I
now
don't
it
know.
could have just been,
But so the two pilots they made women as well. So all these women in in charge of these operations.
I think they're on the left. At least Christopher McQuarrie is.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. That's what I'm
100%.
saying. No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He wrote this movie and he put all these women in charge
Right.
of the captain of the boat, the president, the two helicopter pilots. There's like one dingus in the back, like, hey, what are we doing here? And the women are like, hey, we're gonna give him this time.
Kate
or whatever.
O'Brien is like the
Kate-
badass.
yeah, she's
that-
awesome.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought that was cool, and I also thought heads were going to implode in the theater. I will say, I gotta say, so these two parents brought their two little kids to see this.
no.
When Lilo and Stitch opened the same weekend, I'll never
a
understand
bold move.
why you would be just so selfish because you want to see Mission Impossible. These kids were flipping around, putting their feet up by the headrest,
Of course.
seats up and down, throwing their popcorn and cups in the aisle. It was bad. Katie was giving them the parents the death glare. I told you, Katie doesn't mess around with this stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think I went to Alamo? No, sir, I didn't. 'Cause that does not go down there.
Well, when I saw The Amateur, I forget what it was, but like a major kids movie had opened that weekend.
Yeah, you said the same thing. Someone
and
brought
like
their...
somebody brought two kids.
Yeah.
And the kid was behaved, but it was more just like
Go see
I'm
that
like
one.
there's this God, what was the movie? But
the other movie? I
yeah,
don't remember.
but there was like a huge kids.
But this is a
Sonic
3-hour.
2, but it was something.
Oh, it
This
could
is
have
a
been Sonic 4
Three,
or whatever.
three
Yeah.
came out.
Yeah.
But this is a 3-hour espionage movie.
Yeah.
And these were two like 7-year-olds that clearly were bored out
Yeah,
of their
right.
minds. And I just thought, how crappy is that? Bring your kids to go see Lilo and Stitch, like
Right.
to go out as a family.
Did they change the ending of that movie?
Lilo,
Is that the
Lilo
what I'm
and
hearing?
Stitch?
Is that
Like the villain of the movie's not in it apparently.
but this could be totally bullshit. Where
Are we on
the
4chan again?
no, where the neighbors opted to adopt Lilo so that Nani could go off and have a career?
Oh, I don't know. I don't
If
know
that's
anything
the end
about
of that
it.
movie, like so much for whatever it is meets family, because like holy, like that's a change. Oh
Yeah,
my
wait, you're saying-
god!
I don't. That sounds insane.
I have no
that She
idea.
would be like, "Oh, see ya, I'm gonna
Or
go
like
work."
the neighbors are like, we'll take care of her while you go off and have a career.
I don't know, that sounds
What?
that sounds like something that was on the alt right
It could have
forums.
been.
or
It very well could.
something
I
that
like.
spread to
I literally
TikTok or
just like
something.
read it. and
Yeah,
I
you
was,
probably saw
know.
a TikTok of some gibberish.
So yeah. So the end of this is
They
we're
all meet
back
up where
in
they
London,
They all meet on the street in London and stare at each other for 35
and they're all just kind of like, "We love you, buddy."
I guess that's their check-in, so there's no communication because they're still. But okay, first of all, the president would clear all of them.
100%.
They don't need to sneak around in London.
No.
Like the president knows that he saved the entire world.
Yeah.
And avoided the deaths of billions of people because their
Correct.
plan was to blow up these 8 missile sites or whatever, and the 9th was a random U.S. city of, they said, hundreds of
I
millions.
do like that they didn't name the city.
I know.
was
They're like, it's going to be one
"Motherfucker,
of
better
these
not
lists.
be St.
of-
Louis. Like, you leave us out of this.
They're like, St. Louis. But like, the only thing I could think of was after this. I'm like, they're clear. Like this is the way to end this series to where all our
really
heroes
is.
get a clean slate, right?
Yeah.
They don't have to be on the run anymore. So I did think that was kind of weird. They had to cross paths without talking because that was like.
They all kind of give you the head nod. Haley
Yeah.
Atwell gives.
And why did they not leave together? You're seriously not going to make them after all
Yeah.
that be together,
Right.
They just
At least let Haley Atwell, Simon Pegg, and Tom Cruise leave together.
Yeah,
right. Like
some
that's
of
the
them.
team we followed this
Right.
whole time. You know.
I don't know. It was kind of weird because like what. It should be a happy ending. Like if you're calling this
It
the
is kind
final
of. I mean,
reckoning.
it is. I would say that it is a happy ending because everybody's alive. The team is still there with the exception of Luther.
Benji is alive, which it
Yeah.
really looked like he was going to die after
Right.
that whole ordeal. But
So earlier in the movie, Haley Atwell says, "You're the only one that I would trust to give this thing to." And he's like, "No, you can't. Like nobody can have it." And then she hands him the box, and there it is. And I was like, "Break it."
I
Just
I
smash
just
it.
don't
What are you
understand
doing?
why
Like,
you
it's-
wouldn't smash it. Why would
not,
you keep that?
It's not like it's a virus. Like you know, if you
yeah.
break it in half, it's not going to spread anywhere.
Right.
It's a computer program.
Yeah, I don't get it because if these movies have taught us anything, it's going to get in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
Someone is going to. You didn't see the post-credit sequence where someone just comes and shoots him and takes it. It's Kittredge. He's like, I'm the villain.
It's mine now.
But yeah, I think it's silly. I don't know why they'd end on that note. I think
very
they should
weird.
have had more of a like, hey, we're all free now. Let's stay
go
in
get a
touch and
pizza.
talk or something. Yeah, you know, and
We'll go eat
right under the
shawarma.
Kremlin. The
Right.
Papa John's,
Well,
right?
Yeah, they blew it up.
But it was fun.
I think this is a lot of fun.
Overall, I liked it,
Yes,
but like
it is not as good as the previous four.
yeah, and it did not need to be 2
the
hours.
first
No.
the first hour is a clip show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just I don't get it. The editing was atrocious. It really was like giving me a headache. I'm like, stop flashing back and forth the different scenes. Like, if you want to watch the movies, go watch them. I don't mind. And have a flashback, a callback, fine. But you did not have to replay sequences
Oh, the
from
whole
every
thing.
discussion. It was just too much. So like, yeah, if this was 2:15 maybe,
Even
cut out that whole
even 220, you could
Yeah.
probably,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, I think this is.
And I think
it's-
they could have done their clip show and still had a 2 hour and 20 minute.
Yeah.
movie.
Agreed.
Like,
Agreed.
yeah.
Yeah, this one felt a little long, but the action sequences unbelievable.
Yep.
As you would expect. There's some really fun stuff. I liked the through line of the Luther stuff about the future and and writing your stuff and all that. And that
I don't know that we needed to hear him say it 3 times.
yeah, he just really
He
wanted
gave
to,
there's-
3 goodbye speeches.
Yes.
There is your at least 15 minutes cut out of the movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know.
Ralph Saxon, MVP as
He was
Dumbo
great.
from the
He
first
was-
movie.
he was so
What
fun.
weird. I
Yeah.
hope if they make more of these movies, I hope in the 9th one they bring back the most obscure character, the waiter at the restaurant where he put the gum bomb on the fish tank, the aquarium guy that was taking care of the
Right,
fish or
right,
something.
right.
I want the most random character to
The
be part of-
delivery driver from Papa John's who came back and it was gone.
Yeah.
Oh,
What do I do now?
Am I gonna get? I can't clock
and
out.
Ethan comes and he goes, I am so sorry that I ruined your life with your career job at Papa John's.
Right,
And
right.
he goes, no, if you would have never done that, I would have never got a job at Pizza
I
Hut.
would have never started my own pizza
I
place.
would have never gone to medical school.
Yeah.
I'm a surgeon now.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Worth the time.
Family.
Yeah.
Yeah, family.
So I guess that's it for this one. Let's go around the table and everyone can say where to find this.
This is Joey. You can follow me on the Twitter, on Blue Sky, on Threads, on Letterboxd, all of the above at Joey Butts, BUTTS 21.
This is Kevin. If Twitter still functions, you can follow me at Kevin R. Brackett.
And this is Tom. You can find me on Blue Sky and Threads at Tom O'Keefe Jr. or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. Find the show online at facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, give you one last edit to make.
Oh, yes.
And of course, don't forget our Patreon, patreon.com/Real Spoilers, where for $5 a month you get all sorts of bonus content, and we like you extra.
Yes, right.
So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, Steel launches Rancor into space.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, 'cause we already won.